the number of doctors are good doctors, but all doctors are not good doctors as well. Now, in Jammu and Kashmir, we have a very peculiar position where the doctors who are employed by the government, they work in the hospitals. Then these very doctors also can do their private practice. Just sheer number of people who visit these institutions, whether it is the Schemes Institute or JVC or any other hospital, sheer number is so large that it's impossible for a doctor to pay full attention to a patient. Being a lawyer by profession, I understand how the client wants to be heard. I think similar is the feeling of a patient. He wants the doctor to hear them, to hear his part of the story, to appreciate it, to understand it. But hearing it not by way of any dominating position, but almost as equal, like one human being would talk to another human being. He would like, that's his expectation. On the other hand, the doctor is under terrible pressure in which he performs. He doesn't look at the patient, but he's also thinking of the number of patients who are waiting for him. That way he's able to give hardly 5 minutes, 6 minutes to a patient, and the patient comes out dissatisfied. But he accepts this because he has no option with him. This is one area which perhaps needs to be addressed to. Whether number of doctors should be increased so that the ratio between doctor and patient is considerably reduced. I remember some statistics, it used to be one doctor, 5,000 people. Among them, there may be different categories of patients, but it has to be according to international standards. One doctor may be for 3,000 people. The doctor is not able to apply his mind fully to the patient's problems. Now, this patient who comes before the doctor also has multiple problems. Sometimes he has to be heard, he has a psychological problem, sometimes he has a physical problem, but he is there to speak to open his heart to the doctor. Now, let us look at the response of the doctor. Some more treat them psychologically. There are so many jokes around. Also, you give an injection only with the water, the patient feels that he is cured or she is feeling better. That too also happens. Now, when we look at it from a well-ordered society where laws govern this relationship, the patient and the doctor's relationship, I can tell you without fear of contradiction, and you too can perhaps substantiate that, how many cases have been filed against doctors for negligence and carelessness? I can tell you, as good as none. But yet, yes, it is true, some patients have died because the doctor was not able to pay attention or was not able to treat him well. Only the other day, I was not surprised, I was shocked to hear there is a doctor working in JVC. I don't know whether it is true or false, that he was holding the fake MBBS degree as well as fake registration of MCI, and yet he was engaged by the government in 2016. Now the matter went to police and is investigated. Such doctors can also get away. He too can treat the patient in a hospital. The patient who goes to the hospital doesn't know this doctor is good, bad, what institution he has studied. It becomes a big problem for the patient. Now there I would insist the doctors must disclose who they are, where from they have their studies, so that the patient's choice of getting treated by a particular doctor, to my mind, is extremely important. That's one thing which the doctors need to take care of. Second important thing which I feel is the patient's right to know about his or her problem. What is the kind of problem that patient has? The doctor must inform the patient. These doctors use the informed decision, informing the patient. Look at these are your A, B, C, D. The third important thing is who takes the decision. There's a separate issue which I thought I told the secretary also, that let's take the case of cesarean in our valley. I know a lot of women have undergone cesarean when it may not be required at all. But there is an economic interest in that kind of a thing. There the doctor takes the decision and he makes the patient to believe that it is necessary for the patient when it may not be. The normal birth is given a go-by only for economic reasons. Now here the point is this: who takes the decision? Is it the patient or is it the doctor? The law provides that there are situations where the patient needs to take a decision, whether the patient would like to undergo a cesarean operation or patient would like to have a normal birth. This option is not available between the patient and the doctor. This is a third area which we need to address, and doctors themselves also need to do something about it. Fourth thing is, if you see the nature of relationship, it is a personal relationship. The doctor who renders his service, and there is a patient who would like to get treated by this particular doctor. This is service rendering. In that service rendering, the nature of services which are provided by this doctor are extremely important for this patient. I know a lot of patients, they visit, I think, more than one doctor. More than one doctor. That one has to know, why do they visit more than one doctor? Do they not trust the first doctor? Do they believe that the first doctor is wrong? Or do they believe that maybe the first doctor wasn't that good, let me have a second opinion? Nothing wrong in taking a second opinion. But at the same time, since we're discussing what the doctors can do, this is also seen. One is the moral aspect of the matter, human aspect of the matter, that the doctor must have self-realization. They take oath, they have this ethics to be the secretary referred, 2002 ethics made by Medical Council of India, how good they have to be as human beings, empathetic, compassionate, humble, with a smile on their face. Well, it is there, but practically doesn't so happen. Practically does not so happen. The doctors themselves need to undergo transformation. They themselves need to change. But then human beings as we are, very few of us undergo self-transformation. So there has to be something more to it, and that something more is accountability. If a doctor is negligent, if he is careless, and the patient has suffered because of this particular doctor, where is the level of accountability? I am aware of one of the cases, not a single doctor was able to depose against his colleague, even if he knew that the colleague had been negligent in treating the patient. There has to be some independent authority, whether it is the State Registration Council, whether it is the MCI, whether it's the state government. There has to be some accountability to this doctor. Today's legal system says that if you in the hands of doctor, go to the court. We have a law of torts, so you file a case against him for damages. But then the courts, as they are, take years together. This particular patient will not find any doctor supporting his case. Ultimately, the judge will decide on the basis of medical opinion. And how many doctors will be there to depose against a colleague? It doesn't happen. So the people don't go to the court at all, which could be one of the causes which would compel a doctor to be careful. There is that machinery is absent absolutely. Second thing is, and also the patient doesn't have the time to pursue against a particular doctor for negligence. Second thing is that the state government itself does it. We hear sometimes in newspapers, somebody has died, inquiries are constituted. One doesn't know at the end what happens to those inquiries. I have never heard any doctor being punished. I have never heard any doctor's license to practice having been suspended, despite the fact they are having negligence. I'm not going to accept that none of the doctors for the last several decades has not been negligent. So therefore, the other side of it is, one, the rights of the patient. Number two, the accountability of the doctor. If you want to improve this patient and doctor relationships. Then the third thing is, it is just theoretically which I am going to say, that is, since the whole society has changed, the emphasis is more on the amount of money you want to make. So whether the doctor is in good relationship with these pharmaceutical companies. They prescribe that particular medicine of a particular company because he entertains them. That company takes them abroad, gives them all gifts and every kind of thing. Whether that medicine is good or bad, the doctor is not concerned with that as long as he gets some kind of a benefit from that particular pharmaceutical company. The third thing which comes to our knowledge is where the doctors would refer the patients to particular laboratories for testing and so on and so forth. They might have their cut in that. If the patient has to be at 10,000, 20,000 on an investigation, the doctor who refers might have his own cut commission on that. Now, this is the other side of the picture with which the patient suffers. In this scenario, what can be done? To my mind, law is unenforceable. To my mind, nobody has the time to go to the court and wait for years together. To my mind, there is no one to support that. One would be self-transformation, but how many of them would go for self-transformation? Number two would be only thing, to my mind, this level of accountability must increase. We are not questioning their competence. I know a lot of doctors in Jammu and Kashmir are extremely competent. Some of them are sitting right to my left and right. Extremely competent doctors. But then one group of doctors who are very competent, but then there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of the doctors who are in regular contact with the people. They may not be that brilliant and that good. What can these group of doctors at the top do? They can't treat all the patients. The reputation is made generally by the doctors, whether in the rural areas, even in the cities. Then last thing which I want to say is also how expensive this has become. Look at the Paris hospital, the amount of money they charge, and look at the government hospitals. They have their own grievances, there are not much facilities, government is not providing sufficient budget, not equipment which ought to be there. Of course, those are the different structural problems. Those are the problems in the system itself, that the government can afford to have a 5-star kind of a hospital, which is not possible for the governments. If you visit any of the hospitals, the patients are lying on the floors, the attendants are lying on the floors. Now see the other side of it also, the paramedical staff. I see the paramedical staff, particularly those who come from Kerala, extremely good nurses, the way they take care of you. But in Jammu and Kashmir, who is bothered? They don't care much about the patient. They might do because they have to be there for some time, but not as good as the Kerala nurses. They are sought after even abroad, in Middle East and other places. So we need to address ourselves. We want to have something to be done. One, that is at their own level, we cannot do. We can only request, impress, appeal and urge. Please, within your own community, develop values, develop that empathy, develop that some compassion for these patients and treat them with a smile. At the end of the day, he is a sick man who comes to you, and then he has hopes with you that you would cure him. You would provide him a helping hand. That's all up to you. Do not depend only on the accountabilities. These are the broader parameters which are a part of experience of all of us. And as far the other institutions of the government are concerned, I also know, look at the government itself. Now, within the government, there are people. Now, people may be at the chief secretary's level, they are bureaucrats. They too need to go to the hospital. I know cases where they are very good with doctors. Why are they so good with doctors? Only because they also need them. Whether he himself needs him, whether his relationship needs him, anybody needs him. He has to call up the doctor, doctor, I am sending you a patient. How do you expect him if he finds the doctor negligent or careless? How will he take action against him? Because he needs him. In that perspective, they have made their position indispensable. You can't get rid of this. They are there. So therefore, you need to have a system. You need to have some structure, an independent structure, where these doctors would be accountable. There has to be somebody at some level where this patient who may not be dragged to the courts, he can lodge a complaint. The mere threat that an action of a doctor can be questioned, just mere threat, has its own impact. psychological impact. Absolutely important. Just like we advocates. For example, an advocate is corrupt, a bad advocate, a negligent advocate. We have a system in place. The complaint is lodged to the Chief Justice of the High Court. We have a vigilance department, they hold inquiry, and the advocate is questioned. That, look here, you have done this, why have you done it? About doctors, I have never heard of anything. Everybody seems to need their services, therefore no action against it. And in the process, we all suffer. I'm not talking about you.
No.
Just tell.
That's why we have met.
No, I'm just trying to tell you that. So therefore, when you take it a comprehensive look of the whole thing, one, they need to do something at their own level. Number two, the society must also ensure that these doctors perform their duties and never go to a doctor who is a fake doctor, an incompetent doctor who has purchased the degree of medicine but destroys the patient. That's something we need to do. Number three, doctors also need to know the rights of a patient and inform a decision. Allow the patient to take a decision. Now, I'll tell you an interesting thing about these doctors also. I don't know whether that is right or wrong. An illiterate patient is asked to take a decision. An illiterate person is asked to take a decision. I don't know, this is natural outcome of a professionalism. I have a personal experience in that. One of my nephews who died of this malignancy, we took him to Delhi. The best doctor in the Gangaram said, he needs to undergo surgery. Fair enough, opinion was like that. Then we went to Vedanta or some Apollo hospital. They said, no, he needs chemotherapy. Now the patient is one. The opinions are two. How will the patient decide? Should I go in for surgery or should I go in for chemotherapy? I was actually confronted with that problem. Talk to the chemotherapy man. He says, no. If you do operation first, we can't give him chemotherapy for 1 month or 2 months. We go to the surgery part of it. He says, no, if you go for chemotherapy, the situation will be worst. Now, who decides? What should the patient do? I hope none of you will have that problem, but that is what happens. They compel the patient, you take the decision. And we're illiterate people, maybe quasi-literate, we don't know the nitty-gritty of your profession. Somebody must take the responsibility of that. But the doctors themselves are so secure, they would not take that, they will leave it to the patient. Well, look here, I told you do this, another you do this. The patient is unable to take a decision. But yet, in the situation, he takes his own chances. Okay, sir, I will undergo surgery first, or I will undergo chemotherapy first. But look at all the merits of it. How does the patient take a decision? But they push you to that situation. That's what the medical science is all about. So therefore, I suggested earlier, one would be that patient must know. It's very important that the patient must know. Two, patient could also be educated. Now see also, you take the class of our society. We are very poor people who may not be literate at all. People can fall sick in that class as well. Take the middle class. Literate to some extent, people can fall sick in that. Then there is a rich class. Then there is a lower middle class, higher middle class. If you take the cross-section of the society, and any one of them falls sick, and he visits the patient, maybe some of them do understand, but not necessarily all of them understand what the doctor is saying. All of them may not be able to take a decision, even the educated ones who may be so. Then what you do? You say, okay, sir, I am totally in your hands. Whatever you wish to do that with my body. I am just here. Whether the patient is reduced to a vegetable or he is saved or not, you just leave it. And then one belief which we have, whatever the doctors, beneficiaries of that belief. We say, okay, I have suffered, Allah wanted me to suffer. I have died, Allah wanted me to die. So what has the doctor to do with it? And a lot of patients, where the patients died because of the negligence. One of my close friends died about 5 or 6 months back. He had a simple operation. The doctor did the operation in the institute, but he developed what they call infection of the entire body. The doctor could not detect his infection. This is height of it. And by the time he detected that, more than 24 hours had passed, he gave the possible antibiotics as much as can be, but the patient could not survive. Whom should we blame? When he died, people talked, somebody said, God wanted him to die, this is only a pretext. Doctor got away with it, not questioned at all that he was negligent. We need to apply and address and think about it, how can we improve this patient and doctor relationship, in which we get the benefit of the most competent doctors to the best of their ability. The patients are also satisfied with the kind of programs, the health services which are provided here, and then efficient doctors are recruited by the state government who really are competent and love this profession. They are more human, they have compassion, they have empathy, and they would like to really treat it as what they call a noble profession, the true sense of the word, not theoretically, like our lawyers' noble profession. But is it so noble? No. We are interested first in money, later on whether justice will get him or not. Same is the situation here too. I make my money, patient is cured or not. Nothing, he will run away, go to another doctor. These are real problems, which I see every day. This is my experience with people, to relations, to families, to neighbors, and hearing stories through newspapers. This is the real problem here, not with their person. Very competent people. But then the problems are still there. So I would urge that if society is able to create a system where at least nothing can be done. One, they need to talk to each other, the entire fraternity, medical fraternity, how best they can address these issues. Two, at the governmental level, at society's level, there has to be some mechanism of accountability. It is also very necessary. In Kashmir, I don't know you know it or not, we all want secure jobs. Why do we want secure jobs? In Kashmir, private sector never came up. Never came up. We had handicrafts. Kashmir was famous for handicrafts, for carpets, for handicrafts and everything. We don't have a single institution of it in private sector. We have been doing that work for last centuries together. We don't have that. The option to a young person who needs a job. Should you tell him to go to the private sector where he doesn't have security of service? It's a natural tendency of the people. Everybody wanted to have a government job. So therefore, Tom, Dick and Harry, by all means, by corrupting politicians, maybe the selecting authorities and so on and so forth, they would try to get a job. I see it every day. We have the lowest post of that Anganwadi worker. I don't know whether you know that post at all. They used to get 1,500 rupees a month. The father sold one canal of land, maybe 20 lakhs or 30 lakhs, somehow to get that job. When I told him how stupid you are, what are you doing? What do you put in the bank and make interest of that? My daughter will be, say, 1,500 rupees a month. And he spent 30, 40 lakhs to get that job. Economics have no role to play. One might think, 1,500 a month. Oh, it means I don't know, next 20 or 30 years when he will be able to recover that lakh which he has spent. But that's our mindset, that we need security of services. And when we have security of services, there arises the first problem. We talked of doctors, of course. We have some infrastructural problems. As I said earlier, free medical services, hospitals crowded with patients. There could be several reasons. Extremely good doctors in government hospitals, so people will rush. You can't deny that right to them. Free services, people would like to go to that place. Yes, affluent class of good people will go to a private hospital, spend more money. They are like 5-star hotels. Now see the difference where. I don't know whether you know it or not. These big hospitals, whether they are in Delhi or now they are growing in Kashmir as well, they are multi-crore projects. Now this money is to be recovered. The person who sets up that hospital is not a stupid man. He wants his money back. He is not a philanthropist. How will he get his money back? He tells these doctors, look here, your services are engaged, but you will get 1 crore rupees a year.
Generate revenue.
What will the doctor do? He says, this investigation you have done, he exactly knows this investigation is correct. Whether you go to Dr. Qadri, whether you go to Path Lab, whether you go to so many labs are there. No, we don't trust this. You got to get it done through our hospital.
This place.
I have done it 100 times. Go through our hospital. We said, no sir, I got it done it already. Is this a bad? No, we have to do it ourselves. So you fish out 10,000.
True.
Then his diagnosis, investigations. Now the whole idea here is that he is not acted bona fide. He is not acting in good faith. He has a pressure that I got to get 1 crore of rupees at the end of the year for this hospital where I am working. And how will he get it? Only by such means. Now look at the government. I have something to say about these doctors as well. It is a fact the hospitals are crowded. It is a fact government is unable to provide extremely good adequate infrastructure. It's also a fact. It's also a fact that on an OPD day, outpatient day, every doctor might have to see 200 patients a day. But this is the price you have to pay. What does it mean, the price you have to pay? You have to push your limits. If you have a bad temper, you are with your wife in the morning, or you had a bad breakfast, you can't express it to a patient. You need to have a smile on your face. He's not bothered whether your temperament is good or bad or you're a hard-working man. He's not bothered, even if you're a human being. You have to push your limits because that's the job you chose. Even if you are a human being, even if you are anything. But that is what you are supposed to do. You just can't badly treat the patients and go for wrong diagnosis just to get rid of the patient. You cannot do that. You are corrupting the relationship. And nothing can be more bad for that. Whether it is 200 patients, 300 patients, but that is what we have to do. There is no alternative. There is no choice to it. The patient comes. Now, look at it from the patient's perspective. Why does he go to the hospital? Is it a place of pleasure? Who wants to come to the court? It's not a place of pleasure. It might be a seat of learning, but not a place of pleasure at all. Why should people come to the courts? Why should people go to the hospitals? Because they're sick. They need some help. Therefore, that compels them to go there. Why do they need help? If you start discussing that, thousands and adulterated food and dust and pollution and DNA problem and so many other things, these doctors have the answers for all those things. But the bottom line is that you go to the hospital. No, this is not a favor. He is compelled to go to the hospital. You are engaged by the government. You get paid for it. And you know exactly the condition of the hospital, yet you choose to be there. If you cannot see 200 patients, do you have the courage to resign and leave the job? None will leave it. None will leave it. I have never seen any person resigning from the government job. Because they know it. There is an egoistic angle to it. Very few doctors accept Dr. Raza. We lawyers are constantly in a state of competition. Constantly. Every case is an examination to me. I have to outsmart every other lawyer or my client or somebody. There's a constant pressure on a lawyer because I don't have security of service. I get paid for the service which I render. The doctor, the moment he leaves the government job, he has to prove it on the streets of Srinagar, his worth and competence. If he feels that he cannot do that, he finds cover and avail in the government hospital. Howsoever incompetent he may be, he doesn't know his job, but it's a cover to it. And great advantage in the hospitals. It's a teamwork. One believes the other. Tell me any such situation where they don't have a team. In that, a mediocre also gets it, an intelligent doctor also gets it, an inferior doctor also gets it. Nobody knows who is the best. Then another aspect. I'm being too honest with the doctor, but I don't mean to harm any person. All doctors in Jammu and Kashmir have built their practice only through hospital. They have built up their practice only through hospitals. When a lot of people come to them, 100, 200 a day, I know for certain some of them meet me in my clinic after 5 o'clock. The practice gets developed, one after the other. How do you prove your mettle? How do you prove that you are the best as against somebody else? Because the patient is compelled to come to you, and you think that he's coming to you because you are the best? No, he has no choice. A doctor, I personally feel, has to work under these adverse conditions, particularly in our state. Hospital structures, system failures, so on and so forth. Then there is another disease which I see every day in the course. That is promotion of these doctors. Everybody wants to go. Hey, what is your job? Your job is that. I would like to be the director of the institute. I don't have to see the patient, but I would like to have a flag. I would like to have a security. I would like to have that pomp and show. Why? You're a doctor. Go and see the patients. Your job is that. You like to get an administrative job. Why? That administrative officer can do that. But they create such a situation. Seniority dispute, promotion dispute, head of the department dispute. Is it taught? That is not a part of your training. All these people, these doctors who go up, they do not know how to sanction leave. They wouldn't know. They have never read civil service regulations. Not their fault, because after 12th class you do MBBS. I know what 12th class is. After that you do MD, then you do DM. He wouldn't know what is this civil service regulation, how to sanction the leave when the peon comes to him. What happens actually? He depends on the establishment clerk. इसको क्या लिखना है, ये लीव लेकर आए मेरे पास. صحیح بات بھی ہے, یو آر ناٹ ٹرینڈ ان دیٹ. آپ اپنے کام میں ایکسل کریے. یہ قیمت آپ کو ادا کرنی پڑے گی, یہ محنت کرنی پڑے گی, چونکہ آپ نے چوز کیا. جب میں اپنی پریکٹس کرتا ہوں, میں نے رات کو 3 بجے تک نہیں میں سویا, بٹ دیٹ از دا پرائس آئی ہیو ٹو پے. چاہے ہماری آنکھیں, ہمارے کان, ہمارا دل, ہماری ٹانگیں, بٹ دیٹ از دا پرائس یو ہیو ٹو پے. یو ہیو چوزن اٹ, ادروائز وڈرا. بات ختم. سوسائٹی کو آپ سے ایکسپیکٹیشن نہیں ہے, آپ ڈھونڈتے ہیں بیسٹ آف دا. اس میں جموں کشمیر جیسے حالات میں, انڈیا جیسے حالات میں, جہاں پر اتنے لوگ رہتے ہیں, دا ہاسپٹلس آر اوور کراؤڈ اینڈ آل کائنڈس آف پیپل, اس میں کیا یہ ڈاکٹر کرے گا؟ یہ اس کی آپ کا یہ اپنا فیصلہ ہے. یہ آپ ڈونٹ بلیم سوسائٹی, ڈونٹ بلیم اینی بڈی. یہ آپ کا پرسنل ڈیسیجن ہے. کسی اور کا نہیں. یو آلویز ہیو اے چوائس ٹو لیو اور ٹو کنٹینیو. وhy do you blame the society? why do you blame other people? یہ آپ کو کرنا ہے. آپ کو 5 منٹ آپ کے پاس ٹائم نہیں ہے, مگر ٹائم نکالنا. اگر آپ کو 9 سے 5 بجے ہے, پیشنٹ آپ کے 200 انتظار کرتے ہیں, آپ رات کو 9 بجے تک بیٹھے, بٹ دیٹ از یور جاب. آپ اپنی نوکری کریے. اگر آپ بولیں گے میں اتنا نہیں دیکھ سکتا ہوں, ٹھیک ہے. اگر گورنمنٹ, دین آئی ٹاکڈ آف اکاؤنٹیبلٹی. سمبڈی سیڈ کہ کیا اکاؤنٹیبلٹی. دیکھیے میں کیوں بولتا ہوں اکاؤنٹیبلٹی کی. ہم سب انسان ہی تو ہیں. وی آر ناٹ پروفٹس, وی آل کمٹ مسٹیکس. none of us can claim that I am so perfect, میں مسٹیک نہیں کروں گا. لیکن یہ جو اکاؤنٹیبلٹی کا ایک تھریٹ رہتا ہے, جس سے سائیکالوجسٹ سے سیٹ, اکاؤنٹیبلٹی کا جو ایک تھریٹ رہتا ہے, اس کی وجہ سے آدمی جو ہے وہ تھوڑا سا ایکسٹرا کیئرفل ہو جاتا ہے. بس اتنا ہی ہے. جیسے ایک پولیس والے کی سائیکالوجی بدل جاتی ہے جب وہ یونیفارم پہنتا ہے. Have you met a policeman without a uniform? Then see talking to him. He will not have an abuse in his language. The moment he will put on a uniform, اس کی سائیکالوجی بدل جاتی ہے. Then he feels I have the power. یہ وردی پہنے سے, کپڑے پہنے سے تیرے کو کیا ہو گیا, but that is how it is. یہ ہم سب لوگوں کو کرنا پڑے گا. یہ ہم کو کچھ بھی ہو جائے, ہم کو یہ برداشت. دیٹ از ایک سماج کی گروتھ کے لیے میری ریکویسٹ ڈاکٹروں سے ہے, ہم سب کو کنٹریبیوٹ کرنا پڑے گا. سماج ہمارا ایسا ہے, لوگ بیچارے ہم پہ انتظار کرتے ہیں, لوگ آپ پر ڈپینڈ کرتے ہیں. وہ جائے گا بھی کہاں؟ آپ کے پاس وقت. Can you ever call a doctor at 1 or 2 o'clock midnight? You can never call anybody. Maybe few, okay, you can call me anytime. اس کی ایسی کی تیسی سوچیے آپ, رکھا فون آف کر کے, تو کون اس کو فون کرے گا رات کو؟ ہاں جو ڈاکٹر ہوں گے وہ کر سکتے ہیں, سارے تو نہیں کرتے ہیں. ہم جب بات کرتے دیکھیں انڈیویجول کین بی گڈ, لیکن اب بات جو کرتے ہیں جنرلی ڈاکٹروں کی, جس کو یہ احساس ہے, who feels it. No, I am discharging a duty which is as they rightly said, is noble in character. I'm trying to save lives. He's trying to save lives. یہ آپ بول کیسے سکتے ہیں؟ آپ غلطی کیسے کر سکتے ہیں؟ ہمارے دوست نے کہا about pharmaceutical. Put him the honest question. جنرلی کو چھوڑ دیجیے. آپ ٹریڈ نیم سے دوائی دیتے ہیں. آپ جنرلی دیتے ہوں گے. We give you benefit of doubt. But I know doctors who enjoy themselves at the cost of pharmaceutical company. پھر اسی کمپنی کا دوائی ٹھوک دیتا وہ. ٹریڈ نیم کی دوائی چھوڑو جی, جنرے منرے بات کی بات ہے. وہ اسی کمپنی کا دوائی دے گا. کیوں؟ اس کو بینیفٹ ہوا ہے. کیا یہ سچائی نہیں ہے؟ ریفرنس پہ ڈاکٹر لوگ پیسہ بناتے, سچائی نہیں ہے؟ یہ ہمارے تجربے کا ایک حصہ ہے. تو ہم کیوں نہیں اس کو ایکسیپٹ کریں گے؟ آپ کو کم پیشنٹ دیکھنے چاہیے, آپ کا انفراسٹرکچر بہتر ہونا چاہیے, اس سے کس کو انکار ہے؟ یو آر گیٹنگ ویری ویل پیڈ. آج لوگوں کو پینشن جو ملتی ہے وہ ان کو تنخواہ سے بھی زیادہ ملتی ہے. ڈو یو نو دیٹ؟ جو انہوں نے کام کیا ہوتا ہے کہ ان کی اس وقت سیلری تھی, اسے زیادہ ان کو پینشن ملتی ہے وداؤٹ رینڈنگ اینی سروس. آپ تنخواہ لیتے ہیں, آپ سب کچھ کرتے ہیں, لیکن یہ قیمت ہم سب کو, اگر آپ سماج کو بڑھانا چاہتے ہیں, یہ قیمت ہم سب کو ادا کرنی پڑے گی اور کچھ چوائسیز کرنی پڑے گی. میں دنیا کا وکیل کیوں نہ بنوں؟ میں ٹاٹا برلا نہیں بن سکتا, میں ریلائنس نہیں بن سکتا ہوں. آئی کی ناٹ بی دیٹ. اگر مجھے وہ بننا ہے, آئی مسٹ لیو دا پریکٹس اینڈ ڈو بزنس. فنش. یہ ہمارے سائیکولوجی میں سے کچھ ڈیسیجنس ہم کو لینے پہ, کچھ ریزولوشنس ہم کو لینے پڑیں گے, جس کی وجہ سے ہم کو اس سماج کو مدد کرنا. وی آر گروئنگ. شاید آپ سم آف یو مے بی نیو ہیئر, ناٹ آل. واٹ از کشمیر ایز اٹ از؟ اس کی ہسٹری دیکھ لیجیے, ہم نے گرو کیسے کیا ہے. اٹ از ناٹ بامبے, دس از ناٹ دہلی, دس از ناٹ مدراس, دس از ناٹ کیلکٹا. ہمارے پترے غربت سے ہم نکلے ہیں. تھوڑا پڑھا ان بچوں نے پڑھا, ہمیں خوشی ہے کہ نہ کیا, ہم اس سے تھوڑا سا ابھر آئے ہیں. اب یہ بہت کم ہے, ہمیں اس سے بھی زیادہ محنت کرنی ہے if we want to survive. لیکن ہمیں خوشی ہے, some of the Kashmiri doctors they have done extremely well at the international level. یہ میں نے کسی اور کہا, میں نے کہا we are so happy. ہم کو کیا ملتا ہے؟ جی ہمارے نوید صاحب ہے, اس کو نوبل پرائز ملے گا. ظفر شاہ کو کیا ملے گا؟ کچھ نہیں. عزت اس کو ہے, پیسہ اس کو ہے, لیکن مجھے ایک خوشی ہے that he is one among us. مجھے بس یہی شوق ہے. جو کشمیر کے لوگ جو ہیں, ڈاکٹر آزان صاحب یاد ہے نا, he is one among us. ہمیں کیا کوئی پیسہ دیتے ہیں, کچھ کرتے ہیں, but we respect him a lot. اور ہمیں اس بات کا فخر ہے کہ no you don't know, we have a doctor like Dr. Razdar. He can treat any patient neurologically. وہ خوشی ایک قوم کو ہوتی ہے, ایک کمیونٹی کو ہوتی ہے. یہ گرو کرنا پڑے گا. اب اس میں ہم کو کمپرومائز کرنی ہے, تکلیف کرنی ہے. باہر وکیل اگر 15 لاکھ روپے ایک ہیئرنگ کے لیتا ہے, ظفر شاہ کو 15,000 دینے میں بھی دقت ہے. I have a choice, میں جہاں سے دلی میں پریکٹس کر رہا ہوں, مجھے کیا ادھر کر رہا ہے. مجھے ایک میں آپ کو جاتے جاتے سناؤں گا ایک بات, بڑی وہ میں کبھی بھولتا نہیں ہے. یہ جب یہاں ملیٹنسی بڑی زبردست ہو گئی, ایوری بڈی لیفٹ. تو ایک شخص تھا, آئی ڈونٹ وانٹ ٹو نیم ہم, اٹ واز 92-93. وہ میرے پاس آیا, اس نے مجھے بولا کہ میں نے سنا آپ بھی جا رہے ہیں. میں نے کہا کام وہاں کچھ نہیں ہے, ہم تو ڈیلی ویجر ہیں, ہم کو کام ہی نہیں کچھ ہے, سارا بند ہے. ہم تھوڑی سیکیور ہیں, تو ڈیلی ویجر وکیل ہے. میں نے کہا ہم سوچتے کیا. اس نے ایک سینٹنس بولا, وہ میرے آج تک یاد ہو, دل میں تیر کی طرح اترا. کہنے لگا ہم کو کس کے سہارے آپ نے چھوڑا. او جب اس نے بات کہی, میں نے کہا یہ سوسائٹی نیڈس اٹ. سوسائٹی نیڈس اے ڈاکٹر. ڈاکٹر نوید کو اس وقت آپشن ہے, یا امریکہ جائے گا وہاں بھی چمکائے گا, یا انگلینڈ جائے گا وہاں بھی چمکائے گا. بٹ دس سوسائٹی آلسو نیڈ از دا پیپل سٹنگ دیئر آلسو نیڈ یو. یہ آپ کو سیکریفائس کرنی پڑے گی. اس سے محنت نہیں ہے, یہ آپ سماج کو محنت نہیں رکھتے ہیں. آپ اپنے سماج کے لیے, اپنی سوسائٹی کے لیے کچھ کر رہے ہیں, اور لوگ آپ کو ریٹرن زیادہ عزت دیں گے, اور لوگ آپ کو اسی کے لیے یاد بھی کریں گے. اس لیے آپ کو اتنی باتیں چلی جاتی ہیں, پیسہ جی, کرب جی, یہ بھی چور, وہ بھی چور, وہ بھی چور. جب چور ہی چور ہے تو پھر کیا, پھر بولا 4 چوروں کو لیڈر اپنا بنا, تو بولا جو ہمیں سے مہا چور ہوگا وہی سب سے ہمارا لیڈر بنے گا. ہم کو بھی ویسا تھوڑی کرنا ہے. ہم سول سوسائٹی, آپ لوگ جو ہیں, ہم یہ ڈسکشن جو کرتے ہیں, میں بلیو می آئی ایم گریٹفل ٹو دی مائی فرینڈ ہیئر, امر سنگلا بھی کرتا ہے, something which ought not, میں ایسا بولوں, which ought not to happen in our society, drawing attention of the society کہ کیا ایسا ہونا چاہیے, نہیں ہونا چاہیے ایسا, یہ غلط بات ہے. ہمارے سماج میں تو ڈرگ ایڈکشن ہے, کیا ہونی چاہیے, نہیں ہونی چاہیے. کسی نے بولنا ہے بھائی یہ غلط ہے, غلط ہے, غلط ہے, یہ ایٹیچیوڈ بالکل غلط, ہمیں کیا لینا دے رہا, وہ پیتا تو پینے دو, دے رہا کیا جاتا ہے. ہم تو سارے پھر الگ الگ ہیں. I know so many problems our societies have. Whether میں ان سے بات کر رہا تھا کل بھی, whether incidents of divorces have increased in our society. اب یہ لمحہ فکریہ ہے. Why? What has gone wrong? Our values have changed. What has gone wrong? Is marriage institution phasing out? Where are we? مجھے ڈاکٹر صاحب یہاں بولتے ہیں, پیشنٹ کو پوچھتے ہیں پیٹ کاٹیں گے تیرا بیماری یہ درد سے بچ جائے گی, ہاں جی کاٹو پیٹ. تم اس کو انکریج ہی نہیں کرتے ہو, کرو یہ برداشت, کرو یہ برداشت, ڈزنٹ میٹر, بٹ نیچرل برتھ از بیٹر دین یو. اب یہ ریسپانسز کی بات ہے. اگر آپ بلیم گیم کھیلیں گے تو آپ بولتے پیشنٹ کو ہی پوچھتے ہیں میرا کیا جاتا, اسی نے بولا کرنے کو. دوسرا آپ کو خود کیا لگتا ہے جو پیشنٹ بول رہا ہے اس کا فیصلہ صحیح ہے کہ غلط ہے, یہ آپ کو ایز ڈاکٹر سوچنا ہے نا. یہ جو پیشنٹ سوچ رہا ہے دس از ناٹ رائٹ, میں اس کو پرسویٹ کروں گا کہ نو ڈونٹ ڈو اٹ, پلیز ویٹ فار سم ٹائم ٹو ہیو اے نیچرل برتھ. تو کئی چیزیں ہماری رائے پر ہیں, کئی چیزیں ڈاکٹر کی پروفیشنل ڈیوٹیز میں آتی ہیں, کئی ریسپانسبلٹی. اینڈ اوور آل ہمارے سماج کو اچھے ڈاکٹروں کی ضرورت ہے. ہمیں یہ قیمت ادا کرنی پڑے گی, چاہے پسند ہو کسی کو یا نہیں پسند ہو, بٹ وی ہیو ٹو پے دس پرائز. اور ہر ایک سماج والے کو اپنی اپنی سطح پر یہ پرائز, خاص طور سے یہ جو سروس رینڈرز ہیں, ان میں کرپشن کی گنجائش نہیں. ہماری جج کے پاس گنجائش نہیں ہے. پیسہ بنانا چھوڑ دو, جج تو کرو بزنس, تو بناؤ پیسہ. اٹ از کلنگ. اس کو بھی جسٹیفائی, اس کو بھی جسٹیفائی. اٹ از جسٹ ایٹ لیسٹ ایز آئی ٹولڈ یو, آئی ایم ٹیلنگ یو مائی پرسنل ویوز, اٹ از جسٹ کلنگ. ہمارے یہاں بڑا عجیب سا ہوتا ہے, جج ہے اس کی سیلری میں بھی 3-4 لاکھ ہوگی, اب وکیل جو اس کے سامنے کھڑا ہے وہ 15 لاکھ لیتا ہے. اس کو سائیکولوجیکل پرابلم ہو جاتی ہے, میں لیتا ہوں 3-4 مہینے کو, یہ سامنے جو بحث کرتا ہے مجھ سے سٹے آرڈر مانگتا اور 15 لاکھ بنا رہا ہے. ارے بھائی تیرے کو کس نے بولا جج بننے کو, جا تو ہی وکیل بن. مگر اس کو اس کے خلاف نہ بناؤ, ڈونٹ میک اٹ این آبسٹیکل, سائیکولوجیکل آبسٹیکل. یہ آپ کا فیصلہ ہے. ہمارے یہاں ہم نے کبھی ذمہ داری نہیں لی ہے اپنے فیصلے پر. ہمیں ہمیشہ کہا ہے اس نے بولا, اس نے بولا, اس نے کیا, اس نے کیا, اس نے کیا. ہم نے اپنے گریبانے کبھی جاگ کے دیکھا ہے کہ نہیں یہ تو میرا فیصلہ ہے, سنک ود مائی اون ڈیسیجن. وہ ہم نہیں کر پاتے ہیں. اس وجہ سے ہمارے پروفیشنز میں گھس گئی ہے ایسی ایسی باتیں, ایسی ایسی چیزیں اس میں چل گئی, جو اس کی طرف ہے ادھر بھی سمپتھی, پیشنٹ ہوگا اس کی طرف بھی سمپتھی. تو therefore I am just telling you my heart, what I believe in and what I thought how the society, these gatherings to my mind is extremely important because this helps you to think the certain issues in a different perspective in the context of the society in which we live in a place like Kashmir. That's the reality to me. How can it grow? How can our people grow? میں اپنا ذاتی طور میرا اپروچ جو اس پہ وہی ہے کہ how will they grow. یہ انڈیویجول کی بات نہیں ہے. انڈیویجولس کیا بھی اچھے برے, انڈیویجولس کو کیا کرتا ہے, they don't mean anything. But overall vision جو ہونا چاہیے ہمارا, اس میں یہ سب کرنا ہے. اس میں ہر ایک کو اپنا اپنا قربانی دینی پڑے گی. That's what we have to do. Thank you very much.